MarkVision, where we sit down and we talk to extraordinary people who've done extraordinary things. Today I'm sitting down with Thomas Harden, who served as an EMT during the years of 9/11. He was actually tasked with the gruesome test of actually picking up the body parts.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely, and we're gonna get right into that in a moment. But take me back to the beginning. Like, how did it all start? What happened to you as you were growing up that made you choose a noble profession like EMT?
Well, it started when I was born in Brooklyn. I was living in North Carolina. My great grandmother took care of me, and she actually choked on a chicken bone. And as a kid, I couldn't do nothing.
Yeah.
And I thought because we were eating fish, she choked on a fish bone, and I couldn't help her.
Right.
So that made me say, when I get older, I want to help people.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's a really good answer. All right. And what was childhood like for you in general?
It was typical childhood, you know. Grew up in the hood.
Yeah.
You know, typical childhood. Nothing special.
You also served in the military.
Yes, sir. From 80 to 86.
Okay. All right. And what was your main job in that?
First, I was a basic soldier. Then I became a medic in the military.
Okay. That's what's up. That's what's up. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, at the time we played war. This was the 80s.
Right.
From 80 to 86, so we played war.
Right.
So,
yeah.
it was cool.
All right. So, what was your treatment like as a black man in the military in the time that you served, from your point of view?
Well, it was, I guess, more racist than it is today in today's world. We would still get the boy comments. And
Yeah.
I took basic in Fort Benning, Georgia. We would still get, oh, you New Yorkers, and that kind of thing.
Right. Right. So tell me a little bit about your experience as you worked at St. Luke's Roosevelt Hospital.
Oh, St. Luke's was a blast. That was my third stop. But they gave me the opportunity to actually do 911 work. I had worked at TransCare, basically take mom and pop to dialysis, pick them up, bring them home.
Right.
Then I worked at American Medical Response, which was basically the same thing.
Yeah.
But the hospital put me on to the 911 world.
Right. Okay. All right. And so what did a normal night look like for an EMT in New York City before 9/11 happened?
Okay, well, before 9/11, excuse me, being I was in Midtown Manhattan, we would get anything from drug overdoses in the clubs, drunks, car wrecks, baby deliveries. I had a couple of impalements.
And what was the treatment like from society before 9/11 happened? Do you feel like you were treated as heroes before that?
Oh no, certainly not. Most of the time when we would get calls and go to places, it was like, well, what are you doing here? You called us.
Right.
We didn't knock on your door out the blue.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Yeah. And then after 9/11, oh, we was the bomb.
Yeah. I was just about to. We're going to get into that in a second. Hold on. So, all right. So, where were you the moment 9/11 happened, and what were your first thoughts?
Well, when it first happened, I worked overnight. I worked midnight to 8. I was off. I was in Kings Plaza in Brooklyn getting the Tomb Raider book for my video game.
Yeah.
And the lady at the store was like, you didn't hear what happened? No. I got my book, and by the time I came out, my radio went off, and I knew what had happened.
Right. Okay. All right. And so what was your first response? Like, what was the first thing that you had? Because I know that you had to pick up like the body parts and everything. But when you first got to the scene, what was that conversation like?
When we first got to the scene, well, once I got back to Manhattan, it was staging. Like, y'all go here, you go here, you go here, which was all right. But when they started talking about, well, go down to the actual buildings, because we staged roughly, we staged at BMCC, Borough Manhattan Community College, which is probably about 10 blocks away from the actual trade centers. Then when they started talking about go to it, the first thing they teach you as an EMT is the scene ain't safe. It's no good for me.
Right. So that would be like putting your life in your own hands.
Right, so I refused.
Right.
And I got put out of service.
Really?
My ambulance got put out of service.
So how did you get it back? Like, or that wasn't?
Well, we just kind of beefed back and forth with dispatch. Well, 9 Bravo, 9 Bravo. I'm like, yo, man, the scene ain't safe.
Right.
Buildings hadn't even been down yet.
Right. So it's like, you just want your whole risk. Nah. I feel you. I definitely feel you. So when you were tasked with picking up the remaining body parts, what was the first thing going through your mind when you were doing that? Because that's horrific.
Well, it didn't start like that. It started as survivors, look for survivors. Quickly realized, I think it was 5 or 6 people that actually got survived.
Right.
It quickly went to, we got to get remains.
So what was the time like though? From looking for survivors to looking for remains?
A day. Because they had to dig through all the rubbish and make sure everything was safe. You had ATF down there. It was
pretty sorry.
Yeah,
I feel that. So, and this kind of brings me back to my question earlier. What was life like after 9/11, working in the EMT field?
Oh, it was gravy after that. We can get free tattoos. We can go eat fairly much anywhere for free. Kind of like today with the nurses and the COVID.
Right.
I know how they feel.
Right.
You're a celebrity.
Absolutely. How long did it last though?
Oh, about New York, I'm gonna say a month.
Okay. All right.
Then it was back to where your money.
Right. Well, that brings up a good point. You did talk about the coronavirus. Did you experience anything like a pandemic like that?
Oh no. 9/11 is pandemic was something because it killed more people. I feel that. But that was a war zone.
It was a little different. Right. Because I even remember where I was as a kid. You know, I remember wanting to come home and watch like SpongeBob or something. They just interrupted the TV and Bush was saying something that I didn't even understand. Alright, so looking back, do you feel like you received the proper amount of praise and acknowledgement from not only your country that you served for in the military, but also your heroic efforts during 9/11?
Of course not. My problem is, like you said, I work for St. Luke's. We were like, how can I put it, subcontractors. We didn't work for the city's fire department, FDNY. We were subcontractors. St. Luke's hired their own ambulance, Mount Sinai hired their own. We had the same training, same qualifications, but everything after it was all said and done, oh, the FDNY, hey, what about us?
Right.
We were there too.
Exactly, risking your life just as well.
Right.
So like, did the FDNY, did they receive any financial gain from that?
Well, most of them did, and here it is 19 years later, and I'm still waiting.
Well, let's talk about that. So how, one, was it a time in the 19 years that you say, damn, are they just waiting for me to die? Or?
I said that probably about 10 years ago.
Yeah. Right. Well, how do you stay so calm about it there?
I mean, if I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna get it.
Right.
They know I was there.
Right.
They can run my badge number.
Right.
You know, like I said, we were subcontractors, so I feel like they feel, they really didn't work for the city.
Right.
You know.
But I felt like 9/11 was one of those events where everybody came together. Like, I felt like there was no sort of, you were doing more or I were doing more.
No, it wasn't like that.
Really?
No, it wasn't like that. Especially, they were doing more illegal stuff than we were, put it like that.
Right. Okay, so I know what that means. I know what that means. But you brought a book with you. Can you pick it up for me and just take a look at the pictures and just tell me what the first thing that comes to your mind is?
Asking me about my photo album.
Yes, sir.
I had them developed the day after. One of 3 rolls. I still have 2. I still haven't developed.
Yeah.
In the notes part of it, I put the aftermath.
So is there a reason why you didn't want to develop it?
I had seen enough.
I feel you. Yeah. And that's what I was going to ask you too. Like, what did, like, your mindset after 9/11? How did you feel? Like,
They wound up making me retire.
yeah.
I retired at 40 because I wasn't the same EMT afterwards.
Yeah.
Like, normally I go to calls and joke with people.
Right. Now it's not so much.
It wasn't, after that it was like, excuse me, get your ass on the stretcher, let's go. I ain't got time for this.
Right. But I mean, that's like when you go through something like that, I think anybody would come out a different person. You know what I'm saying? Anybody would come out a different person. And so you said you retired at 40, so how far after 9/11 was it? How many years after that?
Probably about 3.
Yeah.
It immediately just keep dreaming about it.
Did anybody offer you, like, I feel like the people that you were working for should have offered you some sort of help to deal with that. Like, why did that
Well,
happen?
they had groups. Well, come in and talk about it, but okay, y'all actually wasn't there and y'all paying me.
Right.
What is this person gonna tell me and they weren't there?
Right.
And like I said, it affected my job.
Right.
Like, okay, before I do something stupid and get sued for medical malpractice, let me step back.
Right. Did you ever think about going back in?
Nope.
Oh, you was done.
I was done.
You hung that jersey up, you were done. What did you lose? Like, friends? I'm sure you had friends in the EMT field.
Oh, for sure.
Did you lose anybody?
Several friends.
If you could say something to them now, like, just looking back over all those years, looking at all the things that you've been through, like, what would you say?
I'm sorry, but I felt like I was one of the senior EMTs.
But why are you sorry, though? You did everything you could do.
Because we were gung-ho, I think. We were trying to prove that we was up to the FDNY status. I think we was trying to do more than they would have did, per se.
Yeah.
And I think it cost a couple of them their lives.
Dang.
So I kind of feel like, well, there, dog, you was kind of a senior. I wasn't the senior, but
So would you say you have survivor's remorse?
for sure.
And how do you cope with that?
For a long time, it was alcohol,
Yeah.
marijuana, took me a long time when the anniversary, the 5th anniversary.
That's my next question, actually. Because it's always a thing with 9/11 where you never forget, and I understand why. But like for people like you who are actually going through it, what is those memories like when you?
Well, for a while I had to go to the VA hospital. I had to get into a mental health program because it's like, okay, y'all act like this is a celebration.
Right.
It may be for y'all,
Right.
but it's not for me.
Yeah.
You know.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I'm definitely thank you for talking to me. I just have one more question for you.
For sure.
As the totality, looking at your military career, looking at your EMT field career, when people walk away from this interview, what do you want them to be left with?
That this ties up perfectly with today's time.
Yeah.
Any of our brothers can do it. Regardless of the struggle, regardless of the outcome, we all people. You know.
Yeah.
Just because, like I said, I didn't work for the fire department, I wasn't in Kuwait, I wasn't in none of that, but I served my country.
Right.
Just give me my just due.
Yeah.
That's all I had.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for sitting down and talking.
For sure.